never doing that again. Unfriended is the new cyber horror movie, I guess we can now call it, and it follows this girl named Blair, and the whole movie just takes place on her computer screen. The only things you can see is through her computer screen, and she is Skyping about 5 of her other friends, and out of nowhere there's this other account that is just on the Skype conversation, and it turns out that it's the ghost of Laura Barnes. And what happened with Laura is that a year ago on that day, she killed herself because someone posted a very embarrassing video of her on YouTube, and so that eventually led to her to committing suicide from all the bullying, and people were telling her to go kill herself. And so now the ghost of Laura is trying to get payback on these teenagers because one of them, or more than one of them, is responsible for that video. I had very mixed reactions when I heard about this movie. I thought it was very creative, and I was appreciating that they were bringing sort of a new idea to the horror genre, but there was part of me that just thought this movie was going to be another stupid horror movie. So this movie could have went in 2 ways. It could have been a pretty good horror movie with really creative ideas, or it could be a total shit pile. Now, which one of them was it? Actually, the first one. As most horror fans know, the biggest problem with horror movies, or one of them, is acting. Most of them are terrible. And the acting in this movie wasn't that bad. Yeah, there were some times where I just thought they were completely stupid performances, or really, really stupid, dumb, teenager-ish, cliched performances. But there were some parts which seemed like they're actually doing not too bad of an acting job, since basically they have to act on a Skype webcam. So they were all believable for the most part. And one of the biggest questions I had walking into this movie is that, could this movie scare us just from showing a computer screen? And for what they had, they did it pretty well. There were some moments that didn't just have a stupid jump scare. Of course, it did have jump scares, but it did have some suspense in us leading into whatever's going to happen. And I think they did a pretty good job with it, especially for what they had. Plenty of parts I thought were pretty suspenseful, and there were some parts that were a little bit creepy, but nothing that really scared me, really. And I did like how they were trying to add some storylines with all the other characters, because what this ghost of Laura was doing was spilling everyone else's secrets, and they were posting it online, and it was actually pretty well written. Definitely not a terrific horror movie screenplay, but for what this was, and through a computer screen, it was actually a really good screenplay. Well, for the most part. There were plenty of scenes that I thought were just completely stupid, and that parts just made me laugh, and I don't know if it was like intentionally funny or unintentionally funny just due to bad writing or bad acting. Somewhat a mix of both, but a little bit more unintentionally funny on some occasions. And this movie is 1 hour and 22 minutes long. It's a very short film, but for the beginning to the middle of the film, it just sort of dragged a little bit. I kind of just wanted to instantly get into it, because just looking at a computer screen isn't that much fun. If you want to have a Skype conversation, you can do it on your own laptop at home for free. But one thing I do have to add about liking it, though, is that they actually did use the actual sounds and what some web pages actually looked like, so it didn't have to be some sort of stupid rip-off that Hollywood just had to, didn't want to pay them for, which they paid for everything. It was the exact same that Facebook would use, or Skype, or any other social media that they would use. So that's what made this film a little bit more believable, because it looked like I was actually on the computer, because all the same tabs looked exactly the same as any of the other websites, so that I was really happy with. But from what I was talking about earlier, there were some parts where I just wanted to just get into the big point of just spilling people's secrets, and it just kind of took a while. Because yeah, you want to make us like these characters, but really, these characters are assholes. These are horrible people. All these people in the Skype conversations, they're awful, awful people. And my friend told me this later on that night, after I saw it, was that it was the first ever, ghost movie that I've ever seen when it was that the ghost seemed like the good guy. Which, to be honest, it sort of seemed like that. I hated all these characters, and I wanted them to die. But overall, I had a good time with Unfriended. It is a very fun, entertaining movie. You can either see in the theater, and it could be a good rental to hang out with friends. It could work out either way. You'll still have a lot of fun with it. It's definitely got quite a few problems. But if you just want to have a small, decent time, Unfriended is a good one. I'm going to give Unfriended a B-. I think it does have a lot of good things about it, definitely has a lot of bad things about it, but overall, it's a pretty entertaining time. That's my review of Unfriended, guys, and I really hope you enjoyed it. And I'm Lucas Stringer. I'll see you guys later.